Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Say, can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me out there? If you're online, can you hear me? Great. So we're going to get started. First of all, a little bit about. First, a little bit about my background. My name is Paul Petitpas. I am now with KW Commercial Advisors. In a previous life, for 30 years, I was a builder developer, Fall River Village, Celtic Gardens, a company called Heritage Cedar Homes, plus CEO of the Nova Scotia Home Builders for 15 years. I've done a lot of new construction. It can be fun or it can be a minefield. Let's make it fun. So let's first talk about new construction. To me, I separate it two ways. If it's a completed new construction, then it's very similar to what you've got with a used home. You know, you can get it inspected, whatever, you see what you've got. To me, the real hot challenge is when you want to take your client and have that house built. So let's talk about that. First and foremost, the other thing I am is I'm a lawyer. So the first thing I'm going to say to you is get it in writing. Cover yourself. What I like to do is if I'm talking to someone now, I send them an email confirming further to our conversation. It was nice talking to you. And in a very subtle way, you're sort of setting that paper trail. So let's look at, first and foremost, when I was doing this, I wanted to know who the builder was. If you get in with a bad builder, no matter how good you are, you're going to have problems. So know the builder. And what I mean by that, not only know what the builder is, as a builder, know what kind of homes they build. Because if your client is looking for something 800,000 or 900,000, and this builder specializes in production models in the 3 and 4 range, he or she is not going to be used to that service. You know, that $800,000 or $900,000 home, we all know they're going to expect certain level of service. They're going to expect the builder to know certain things. Now you can help, but you still got to have the right builder. Anytime.
So where would you go to get these sort of references? Like, would you talk to other agents? Would you Google them?
No, ask the builder. Say to the builder.
I mean, when I say references, so if the builder builds those $300,000
Yep.
ones, they could be really good, and
Yep.
a different builder that maybe does the 800. But like, there are some builders that I have heard about, which I will not name, but you know, people, agents, and people that have lived in the home, you know, said, "Oh, I never."
Okay, if you've got other agents saying that, if you've got homeowners saying that, then be very careful.
Yeah.
Then I would step away. Now, here's the thing:
Is there any other place you can go to find that out? Yeah. Okay.
the Nova Scotia Home Builders have an awards. The Nova Scotia Home Builders have builders that are very good, but I think a lot of it is fellow agents that you trust. And also, this is a small enough city that you're going to have those comments.
Yeah.
If the builder keeps getting bad reviews and sort of blames other things, I'd walk away. I really would, because to me, where there's smoke, there's fire. But now, basically know this. I had someone come to me one day and said, I would never use the builder again. He was 2 weeks late. I said, you know, come on. When did they build? Well, it was fall, winter. Well, come on. That to me, you know, If you said to me, the builder was 2 months late, they didn't finish, they charged more, then yes, those are pertinent questions. But 2 weeks late, we know what's going to happen. So know the builder, get the references.
Just a quick question.
Yep.
I don't mean to talk contract, but I'm actually running into that situation right now.
Yeah.
2 weeks late thing. Did you ever have a clause in your contracts kind of protecting that, saying, listen, we cannot guarantee?
Yes, I always put a bit of a clause saying, subject to weather conditions, materials available, there could be late. I think when you're giving out, and I'm going to repeat the question so people can hear, this is about late clauses. Make sure you put somewhere in the contract that there could be, there could be some delays, and to make sure plan accordingly. What you don't want is 6 to 8 months.
Right.
What you don't want is 4 to 6 months. But a couple of weeks, that's going to happen. The other thing I always tell people is know the product. Know what that builder is building. If he or she has model homes, take your client to the model homes and say, this is the quality. This is what you're going to get. It's amazing, and we'll talk a little bit about later, warranty. When I was traveling with the home builders across Canada and meeting other builders and other warranty providers, I always used to ask, what's your biggest warranty question? Can anyone figure out what was the biggest warranty complaint in many years? What do you figure? I don't think you'll get this because it blew my mind. It was customer expectation, meaning I thought I was going to get this and I got this. I thought you said this. I thought this. So, make sure, and we'll get into it a little further, make sure you give out that you know what your customer wants, right? And don't leave anything, don't leave open-ended. Understand the process. Notice where I put.
I knew I'd messed this up.
No problem. Just pull that back. I think right.
Where's the demo?
Just
I
scroll
would-
up on the thing, the other part of the middle,
There it is.
the wheel.
Keep going.
Go
Keep
on the
going.
wheel.
One more. Okay.
Okay, stop it.
I want you to be very cognizant of where I put the agent. Right there. Builder, purchaser. You've got to be very careful because if something goes bad, you're in the center. And you're in a can't-win situation. You've tried to sort of set up a rapport with the builder. The purchaser's not happy and you're in the middle. So you've got to sort of make sure that the three people understand the process. The builder comes back to knowing the builder, the references, the purchaser. It comes back to you making sure they know the product. Okay?
So your purchaser should know the product, you should know the builder. And obviously-
Well, both. I mean, there's an interaction, but this is what I'm saying. If you can take your purchaser around to that builder's model home or get into a few. Here's what I found over the years dealing with reputable builders. They're proud to show their product. And they'll often get you into a home that's lived in.
Oh, that's lived in?
Yes, I used to do that. If a person said to me, if I knew they were qualified and they said, look, this home is similar to the one I want to build, can you get me into that home? I'd go to that person and I'd say, look, I have this. Would you let us in? And they would. Now, drop them off a bottle of wine later or a nice gift. But the good thing about that is, Holly, is you're actually seeing the host as a living entity. Now, some people are going to say, the builder was not the best, so I don't want to get involved. When you're asking references, people have often said, how do I ask the right question to the person? The best question I think I ever heard asked was, if you were to build again, would you use that builder?
Oh, that's a good one.
And it doesn't, to me, it's excellent because it doesn't say, was the builder good, bad, was this? If they say, that's when you ask the question. And if they say, well, he was 2 weeks late, to me, that's not valid. So, but that's how to do it. It's an excellent way to sort of make the person feel comfortable, because when you ask that question, the person goes, gee, the builder wasn't that good, but he's got a family. No, just would you use them again? And then ask the question, if not, why? Know the warranty. This is huge. If a builder says to you, I do my own warranty, no. I mean, this is, now what I got, and I'll leave a couple of copies of these. Atlantic Home Warranty has a construction performance guideline. And this is what they say shouldn't be done. So this is sort of a nice primer for you, if you're getting involved with new construction, to know what the warranty says about it. Because I know I used to have people, drove me crazy, they'd look down in the basement floor and say, there's a hairline crack there. Come on. Now, if the crack goes all the way through to the gravel, that is inherent, and that's a no-no. If it's a hairline crack, or they say the garage floor isn't sloped exactly right, I used to have trouble with those. Now, if they say there's a crack in the basement wall, then you got problems. Then you got to fix it. So know this. Lux also has a warranty, but this is something that you should know.
Where can we have a copy of that?
You can have one of these, and you can go over to warranty on Olin Crescent in Bears Lake, and they'll give you a copy. But I'm going to leave these 2 copies. Now, Olin Crescent.
Oh, okay.
Now, it's also online. You can get this online. Understand the allowances. This is the one.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So when you say, when the builder says they have their own warranty.
No, what I mean, if the builder says to you, I self-warranty my homes. No, that's no good, because we never know what's going to happen. And if the builder goes under.
So there are some builders that do that?
Not too many anymore, because people like myself and the home builders told people that you should never do that. But to me, have an outside third-party warranty and understand what it is. These guys will even warranty the deposit, which is great, because it protects them.
So, for instance, Raymar might have a 1-year warranty on their workmanship, so that's kind of normal.
Well, no, that's in here.
Oh.
One year, everything is done for 1 year, and then you get into structural, your major structural warranty.
Oh,
First year is bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
The
okay,
efficiency.
Yeah.
The efficiency.
right.
Here's the one thing you got to remember. Warranty will send out the little finished document that your client's got to sign. If they don't sign it after that first year, it's gone. So when that paperwork comes, it has written right on it, very important.
From the warranty company?
Yes.
Or the-
It comes from the warranty company to your client. So these are little things that you can make yourself look good by saying. Understand the allowances. This is one that always used to drive me crazy. You got a $600,000 home, and the builder says, I'm going to give you a $12,000 allowance for the cabinets. I'm going to give you $8,000 allowance for the flooring. I'm going to give you $3,000 allowance for the lighting. Well, that's not going to cover it. So what you've got to make sure is your purchaser knows that's not going to work. So have them go out and actually get prices on what they want. Because what you don't want is, in the end, the builder saying, well, that's going to be $567,000, but the purchaser wants the Acme premium cabinet, they want the Acme premium lighting, and they want the Acme premium flooring, and that's another $30,000. You know what your purchaser's looking at you saying? I didn't know that. So make sure allowances.
And this is when it's being built, not after it's built. Right?
This is the challenging one. Remember I said there's 2. There's the finished product. So it's new,
All right.
and you're saying everything is done and everything is priced. No, this is when the builder is saying, you're going to the builder saying, my client wants you to build them a home. And you're saying, I need prices, I need the spec sheet, and make sure the allowances are reasonable.
So you'd know the allowances were reasonable by having somebody go out and look at flooring and say.
A lot of it's common sense. I mean, you look at a house. I mean, you look at a house and you look at a set of cabinets and you visit a few cabinet stores and you know that you're not going to get any cabinets for $12,000. You might get some, but they're going to be humble. So what I used to tell my clients is this: go out and check on some reputable cabinet places. Here's 3 of them. Check 3 flooring stores, go to the lighting stores, and get an idea of your preferences. And then we'll figure out if those allowances work.
And if they're not reasonable, how negotiable is that?
Well, the thing is that all the builder's going to do is, if the allowances are up, the price is going to go up. So it's a matter of, it's a quid pro quo. So what I say is find out what exactly you want.
So if they gave you, let's just, for an example, I don't know, $12,000 for flooring, right? Just say, but that might be right or wrong, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So say they said that, and you went out and you found that the flooring that you want is going to be $25,000.
Yep.
let's say.
Well, as long as Holly, it fits your budget, that you know that is.
Will they still give you the?
Oh, they'll give you the 12,000.
They'll give you the 12,000,
Yeah.
and then I'll just make up the difference.
Make up the difference. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or whatever. All I'm saying is know what it's going to cost.
So that the folks don't think that they're getting the
Yeah.
flooring they want. For the
Well,
12,000.
especially if you're helping them with their financing and whatever, and all of a sudden there's 40,000 in the mix, and they're saying, well, I can't afford that. So let's just move it up a little bit on number 6, Holly, so we can. Okay,
Tell me when.
that's perfect. Here's where my lawyer comes in. Understand your obligations, okay? Because here's what it is. If this ever goes to court, courts don't look at you as the smartest agent in the world. Well, courts look on you, were you reasonable in the circumstances? And I will tell you this, having seen a few, when things go wrong, the purchaser on the stand will come across as the dumbest person in the world. They know nothing about housing. They can be a nuclear physicist who has invented things, but when they go up in the stand and tell the judge, they're saying, I knew nothing about houses, but Erwin, he's an expert, and he told me this. So what you've got to make sure of is understand your obligations. Who holds the deposit? Is there one pay? What's that?
Who does hold it?
Well, I would say it should be use that deposit to build this house. If you're okay with that, that's fine.
But the seller's lawyer is the builder. The buyer, we're bringing the buyer, so should it be our buyer?
Well, but here's what I'm saying. The builder is going to say, I want that deposit to start the house.
Is that okay?
I've done it. It works. As long as you've got that comfort level, because don't forget, if the builder is doing this whole house with one payment, he or she's taking a big risk also. So I guess I'm giving you, in some cases, the purchaser's lawyer will want to hold this. This is something you've got to figure out with the purchaser. Time delays. That's when you were talking about that. Just make sure somewhere in there is you'll make every effort to see that it's done on time with the builder. But there could be outside circumstances, weather, whatever, where there's delays.
So who puts so if I'm working for the purchaser and he's working for the builder and I'm bringing an agreement of purchase and sale. Right?
Well, he's usually the builder. The builder does, for the most part, many times the builder wouldn't have an agent. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's the builder's agent.
Okay.
So I'm the agent that's bringing my
Yeah.
buyer. So I'm going to make an agreement of purchase and sale.
Right.
Is it the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors agreement of purchase and sale, or right?
Well,
The first first thing I do is I ask the agent, does the builder have his own agreement for sale? Because some builders have their own.
Right.
My builder has their own contract on us, but they want that contract attached to the NSA contract.
And that's usually a good way to do it,
Okay.
along with a spec sheet. You can have a spec
Yeah.
sheet tacked on.
Yeah.
So my question is, if I want to write this clause in, I'm writing it in on our agreement of purchase and sale, right?
You can
The
just do
clause
it-
of,
You can just do an addendum or something. for-
right, so if delay, you know,
Yeah.
if delays are, I don't even know how you would say that, but,
Well, what you say is, because of weather conditions and other actions that could arise, there could be a delay.
but again, I'm working with the buyer.
Yeah.
So am I putting that in, or is it going to be?
You want to make sure, you put it in so it gets to them.
But am I putting a time period on it?
Well,
So
what you're saying is, the closing date is here,
Right,
subject to reasonable delays for weather or whatever.
all right.
That's the way that I'd put it.
And then reasonable is obviously ambiguous, so
Well, but you can't, the thing is,
what's reasonable? That's what I.
yeah, but the thing is you can't sort of know exactly that delay. So you've got to put, and the courts always look at reasonable. Was it reasonable in the situation? So that's where you try to do it. And that's where the two of you sort of get together, that if a delay looks like it's coming, then the builder puts that over to you to say, look, tell your purchasers.
Would you do an amendment to further on the closing date because of the delay? Change the closing
You
date?
can put it on right off the get-go, or you can do it later on. Like, the one I'm going through right now, it was a winter build. We were supposed to close, the purchasers are getting dinged on their mortgage rate, and so they're after us.
Right.
And the builder's trying to say, listen, it was a winter build,
Mhm.
and it took 3 weeks to get the plans drafted up. So we wasted 3 weeks there. And I mean, we had 3
Yep.
weeks of cold to the point where the nail guns were freezing.
Right,
Right, so the builder's saying, listen, I'll take some of this, but I'm not taking all this responsibility.
right.
So from now, so the builder called me the other day and said, you ought to put a clause, and that's why I brought it up to you. He said, you're to put a clause in there now stating that whatever the closing date is.
It's got to be adjustable.
That's right, exactly.
Right, but you're doing that on the seller side, right?
On
So-
behalf of the builder.
Right, and you've sent that over to my side,
Yeah.
If you write me an offer,
Yeah.
right, then I would send you a counter offer
right?
with that clause. If
Okay.
you didn't write it in. But
Okay.
Paul's saying if you write it in, because if you're people that are building the house,
Yes,
and if it's late,
yes,
you're gonna be the punching bag for it. So if you write that clause in, then you're basically gonna have that discussion when you write the clause with the people building the house saying, listen, we're gonna write this in, not saying it's gonna happen, but it does happen with new construction.
And that's your paper trail.
That's right.
And whether it comes from this side or your side, all I'm saying is somewhere on the line, you've got to protect yourself. And I think you should be proactive. I think if it's in yours, you should still have it in yours. So you're both working on the same.
And I understand that part of it, but I guess what I don't understand.
What's that?
They don't hear the question.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, shoot,
sorry, you guys.
I think, Paul, I think you have to speak into the microphone.
Yeah.
I think we have to speak into the microphone, actually.
Or you repeat the question.
Okay. I think the questions here were about what happens if you've got time delays. And what I'm saying, it should be done, if you're representing the purchaser, there should be something in there that you will accept reasonable delays, but you should be kept in the process. You can't say, especially if you're building in the winter, it's going to happen on December 31st. But my point is, you don't want to get caught, as we talked about on that builder, purchaser, and the agent in between. You don't want to get caught in between saying, when people are saying, no, it should have been done now, I want to get money. So just make sure you have a clause in there saying there can be reasonable delays. Builder's lien, that's LIEN, but on the holdbacks, if you're doing progress draws, builder's lien holdback is 10%. And that's got to be held back in trust by the lawyer, by the purchaser's lawyer. And at the end, with the 60 days are up, he or she will do a title search. If there's no liens or judgments, the builder will receive that. If the builder says, no, I won't accept liens, again, that's a red flag. You have to.
Did you say, sorry, did you say, lien was 10%?
10%. It's the 10% of any payment you make. And if you don't hold that back and someone liens the property, the purchaser can be held responsible for the whole of the amount rather than just the lien holdback.
So it's 10% of the payment,
Just 10% of the payment. And that's the beautiful part about it. Once you have that 10%, you're covered. There can be a lien on that property of $60,000. If you held back your amount and it's $12,000, that's it. The others fight over it. Seasonal holdbacks. Seasonal holdbacks are not builders' liens. What seasonal holdbacks are is when you can't finish something because of the weather. Let's say that landscaping, part of it was landscaping, and you paid $5,000 for landscaping. Well, if it's in January, you ain't getting the landscaping done. So you hold back, the seasonal holdback, you give the builder a certain amount of time, let's say until June the 30th. If he or she doesn't do it, then you send them a registered letter saying, we are doing it. We're taking the $5,000 and we're doing it.
And again, that would be held by the purchaser's lawyer. Right?
Yes. When in doubt, go to the purchaser's lawyer. Don't ever try to be a lawyer if you're not one, because
there might be, you say know the builder, you almost got to know the lawyer too.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Because there's certain
just
lawyers
thinking
that
that
are.
oh,
exactly.
by far.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is, and when it gets down to the end, we're going to tie this all up with one very large phrase. But keep that in mind. Expectations. I mean, this always amazed me over the years until I started thinking about what happens. I'm a builder. I build houses all the time. In my mind, when I say something and I think of something and I do something, I know what I mean. But you're a purchaser. You do this once or twice in a lifetime. And the builder is talking about certain things and you're thinking you understand, when in fact you don't. And that's where expectations often go wrong. And that's where you got to make sure that between you, the builder, and the purchaser, people understand what they're getting. And that's why, again, it comes back up to get it in writing. It's extremely important. But so much of that, what I used to like to do is take people around to our model home and say, that's the molding you're getting. That's the quality of painting you're getting. Because I remember I had a couple, I'll always remember this. The lady wanted the brightest paint color ever. You know where I'm coming with this. I went to my guy who does the painting and says, you're going to have flashing. What do you mean? He says, you're going to see every little piece of gyprock, of the spackling that's done. You're going to see that. What it was a bright red, the reddest of reds. So I went back and I said, I'll do it, but it's not going to work. Oh, no, it'll work. All right, no. I think we did 8 coats of primer, 6 coats of this paint, and you could still see parts of the line. So what do you do in that case? You get it in writing from your painter saying, we're going to have, and they called it, I think they called it flashing. You're going to have flashing through this. You are now agreeing that that's it. Simple as that. Because the other thing I had once was someone who did this and then said, no, I want to change it to a lighter color. That was fun too. So when you get in a situation like that, when you deal with your painters, your electricians, your plumbers, and they're saying to you, you're going to get in trouble doing this. Listen to them. And that's when that little addendum comes
So you
in.
get it in writing from them and show it to your purchaser and say, look, this is what the electrician's saying. So I want you to confirm you've read this and let's initial it.
Yes,
Because they're gonna have cups.
yes. You get them not to initial it, you get them to sign it.
Yeah, or well.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
I'm just wondering if anybody else.
in a dispute, how will the courts look at you and your responsibility? What they will look at is, were you a reasonable person? But remember, you're the expert. Now you can say, well, this is the first new home construction I've ever done. I'm learning too. No. The courts. No, I mean, what you've got to do is you've got to make yourself, it's the same as the DC COLA, competency. Remember that? You've got to be competent. And if we're holding ourselves out as professionals, so make sure that what you're doing is reasonable in this situation. Make sure you're being open, honest with your client. The worst thing to do is try to cover up something, to me, that's going to explode in your face later. Paper trail. This is the lawyer in me. Always have that paper trail. And not all your clients are good or bad, but here's what I found. When things go south, there's no friends anymore. Everybody just says, no, your fault. No, your fault. No, your fault. So what I always found again was, if I had a paper trail, if I had something which says, no, we discussed that, and the builder knew it, and you knew it, and whatever knew it, and yet you wanted to proceed, then in most cases, the courts are going to say that was reasonable. But what you can never do is say, well, I tried my best. It wasn't me. That's not going to work. Big thing that I was finding in the last couple of years is leased equipment. Before it was maybe a water tank. Now it's like a heat pump. So you got to make sure, one, but you got to make sure, one, that there's a list of the leased equipment, who's paying for it, which is going to be your purchaser. What is the term of it? I think one of the worst ones are these propane ones. You have to buy from them or you lose the tank. So they can almost charge you anything you want unless you get the tank removed. So make sure that you've got a list of the leased equipment and know the products that they're putting in, because your client's going to have to live with it. Any special products included in new construction? This is something, when I was building houses, the person I would love to see is the person who would come into my office and say, here's my set of plans. Here's a scrapbook I have with all of the products that I want to use. Here's a specification sheet here showing the SKU numbers. Yes. The worst one would be the one that says, look, I'm in town for the next 2 hours. Look, I've drawn something on the back here. Get that stuff together, will you, and get back to me. Which one do you think in the end you're going to spend more time with? So I always liked people who, one, knew what they wanted in new construction. Because here's the thing. Huge challenge in new construction is it's new construction. The huge benefit is your client's getting exactly what they want. That's huge, because when I'm going out to buy someone else's home, I'm saying, well, master bedroom's 14 by 16. We really wanted 16 by 18, but if we sell that king size bed, move this. So the thing is, if they're going to get exactly what they want, but if they want special items, what you've got to do is make sure that SKU number gets in the spec sheet. So,
What do you mean by SKU number?
well, a SKU number, when you go into sort of Kent in one of these places, there's a SKU number on this. And the good part about that is you can put Kent product SKU number this. So you got to make sure if you're the purchaser, you're going to make sure in his spec sheet that it's this specific product. Because I will tell you this, if that person has a specific product, a specific color in mind.
But also, it can be like a bit sketchy because if they want like a stone countertop,
Yeah,
it's not because they're gonna saw a countertop like a small piece.
yeah,
It's not exactly what they're gonna get because they're all different.
and
So you have to be,
that's something. But if that person says, I want aquamarine paint color in this, where there's a specific color. Now, when you get into certain like carpets and hardwood and whatever, you can get changes in color. I don't think that's your huge problem. The huge problem is where they want a specific color, a specific hardwood or whatever. Then to me, put the SKU number down.
You can actually download the scanner app now and just scan the SKU.
Oh yeah,
And it'll go right to an email.
oh yeah.
Right? And just email it out to the agent.
When I was in Dote, and I'll tell you a little story, I used to get a picture and put it in.
Yeah.
You know, when I built my first home, my wife and I had been married for a couple of years, and I was a young buck who thought, hey,
You knew it all?
I'm 24 and I'm smart. So my wife and I building our first home, and my wife says to me, this is what I want. In our sort of living room, I want this bookcase, right? So and the carpenter I had was a Newfoundlander who was brilliant. I mean, this guy could build everything. So my wife and I sat down, and I made the mistake. I said, Lynn, you sit down with Roy and you tell him what you want. What do you think happened? When it was all done, Lynn looked at me and said, that's not what I wanted. And I said, well, you told Roy. No, Roy built what he wanted. So, having been still married for 44 years, what do you think I did in our second home? No, I got a picture. And I said, Roy, here's the picture right here. I want you to sign that. What do you think happened? Beautiful. I was a hero, and I'm still married. So if you've got sort of special products, be very careful. But we all have iPhones. We all take a picture of it. And then make a copy and have the person sign it. The other thing, and this is one that with new construction has caused more headaches than I think than anything put together. Everyone know what a change order is? When you're building a house, let's say you go to the builder and say, look, I know we have this plumbing, but I just saw this soaker tub. Can I do this? And the builder goes, yep, $800. Go ahead, do it. Okay, no, because there's probably 100, 150 different aspects to new construction. You do that, just go build it. What do you think is going to happen at the end when you add up the bill? Oh no, it's going to be huge. What you've got to do is a change order can be a little simple, little sheet of paper like this with a carbon type on it. So when you want something done, and good builders do this, the builder says, yep, that's going to cost this much, and this is it. I want you to sign it. So the builder gives you a copy of the change order, and the builder has a copy of the change order. So in the end, if there's any questions, Holly, you say, what? I didn't order that. It was included. No, here it is right here.
It's a good idea. So basically, if you went to, say, Staples and got a change order form.
Yep, you can get them.
And you use that.
Yep.
And the builder just did what you said.
Yep.
Right? Is that behind the scenes or does that have to be on an amendment?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
The difficulty is when you get into the NSAR stuff and the commission, but I think that's got to be, I think what it's got to be is, I think it's got to be an email or something crossing between you. And if you feel you want to do it, I don't want to step on Ann's toes.
Email saying, so you folks agree to the change order?
Send them a copy of it.
Yeah.
Send them a copy so both agents know.
But that's gonna change the price, right? So-
Well, but it can be a separate check. You can have saying that this is going to be paid separately at the end. And then it doesn't have to affect the price.
I'm only asking that because in my case, like, the people that are building, they're going right to the builder on some things and
No.
they're coming to me.
Well, here's the thing. As long as you and the builder, if anyone can hear what Derwin is saying, that his client is going directly to the builder. As long as you're comfortable with the builder, but the builder's got to keep you informed.
Your buyer client bill or your,
No, the buyers have their own agent.
right,
Their agent's not even existed.
Right.
So the people building are going to my builder, and my builder's doing that kind of stuff, but I'm not in the loop of everything that's going
and
on,
neither is the other agent.
right?
Yeah, that can be dangerous. That's almost a case where the change order should have 3 copies or 4. So everybody gets it. And I don't think it should be part, I think you should keep it as will be paid extra over and above on the adjustments. Because you don't want to keep changing and amending, because what happens there is everybody just seems to lose it at the end and it becomes nothing.
It could affect the financing too.
Yes. But what I find is if a person comes to you and says, oh, just do it. Once they see it on paper, it seems to change. Oh, $1,000. Well, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's the same as the difference is, oh, I got my credit card here. Oh, I'm going to pay cash for that. I don't know. Just force the issue so that you don't at the end have a person who's done all of these changes. The other thing is, when I was doing this, I had sort of a rule that the purchaser could not go on my job site and talk to my staff. That's dangerous. Because then they're saying,
Say that again. Your,
let's say
what's your role?
I'm the builder developer,
Okay.
but I was doing this with my staff. They're on site working. Your purchaser goes to my guys and says, look, can you do this for me? No. Very dangerous. Also, you start getting different sort of conflicting. So you should set rules that if you want to visit the job site, here's the timing, and we prefer, because of safety reasons, that you not visit the job site without having someone there.
So having said that part about visiting the job site, so you've agreed on blah, 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 and now you're into 2 months in the build.
Yep.
And the purchasers want to go see the progress.
Set it up with his agent,
The agent.
and the whole group you should visit.
Okay.
Because then if there's some things, the reason I think you should get everybody on site, because if things are going off the rail a bit,
Yeah.
you got the builder, you got the builder's agent, you got the purchaser, you got the purchaser's agent, everybody's in the room, and have a nice sort of civil talk of this, oh yeah, okay, rather than at the end having the pointing.
And is there written in a contract somewhere how many times a purchaser can come and visit the site?
No, just I think what you should put in is the purchaser shall not visit the site unless accompanied by
Because
the builder
I
or
remember
whatever.
A builder saying that they let them come in when the foundation is forged.
It's up to the builder.
It's up to the builder.
Yeah, okay.
But
Oh, all right.
here's
And
what
they
you
don't let them come back.
here's what you don't want, and I actually had this happen. Luckily, it wasn't on my job. I sold a lot to a builder who built for a couple in Fall River Village, had it set up, had sort of a plank system going up. The purchaser came on site with his wife, who fell off the plank and broke her leg.
Whose fault was that? I mean, who? The purchaser?
Purchaser, because luckily the builder had in the agreement, you shall not visit the site without being accompanied. And that's it. I mean, some job sites are extremely dangerous. I used to hate going on some sites. I mean,
Just the nails and spikes on the ground.
well, see, here's the other thing here's the one thing I did say to my guys. At the end of the day, You'll clean that damn site or I'll bring you back at night. I used to hate going on job sites because here's the thing is, and here's another thing that some builders do extremely well. You go into a house under construction, and at the end of every day, if they do a clean out,
It's supposed to be done.
but a lot of cases it isn't. You know, you're crawling along. I used to love going on sites when things were clean and organized, because to me that says a lot about your builder. Number 13, the wrap up. It's not for the faint of heart. I mean, if you're going to do it, and again, I want to separate the two.
Yeah, because I want to ask a couple of questions on.
If it's a finished product for a new house, that's one thing. You can see it, you can do it. If you're going to actually get in to what I call babysitting, and it is babysitting, that you're going to take a person from really the stage of finding a lot, of finding a builder, of going up, you better have some experience. I wouldn't do it just once or twice every 10 years. And that's my own thing, because I think this is something where if you start to specialize, it can be a nice niche, but it's not something which sort of goes. I had one agent say to me one time, well, I know everything will work its way out. No. You know, the old thing about the doo-doo hits the fan. You've got a couple to me of conflicting things here. You've got a purchaser who's ready to get into that house. This is my dream home. Now, you've got a builder who's building these right, left, center, and who's trying to look at it in an objective way. But someone asked me when I was building, what was my favorite home? Anyone know the answer? My answer was the one I sold yesterday. And you say, well, that's pretty raw. It isn't. To a builder, I loved it when the house was sold, when people moved in. It was out of my hands. There was people who were caring for the home. But as soon as that house sold, I was on to another one. But that person moving in, that's their family. You know, they could have spent every cent they have to get in. So you're dealing with you're dealing with a lot of emotions here, and you're dealing with some builders that are plain out and out crooks.
So on a finished product, so it's all done.
Yep.
Everything's done except for there aren't any appliances, right?
Yep.
So, and there's nothing saying that there's any allowance for any appliances. So some builders will sell a new construction without appliances. So anyway, so I made the call, because I took some clients through.
Yep.
I made the call and I said, is it ready to show, for one thing? And yes, it was, but it was dirty, dusty, paint cans all over the place, anyway, whatever. And there were no appliances. So I said, oh, is there an appliance allowance? And the agent said to me, oh yeah, it can be whatever your purchaser wants. And I went, what do you mean? And he said, well, it's going on their mortgage anyway, so if they, whatever they want. And I thought, that doesn't make sense to me. But because I don't know a whole lot about it, I didn't know.
But remember I said about the allowances, when you said, well, can the allowances be upped? Well, the builder will up it from 12 to 25, but the host is going to go from 5 1/4 to 537. So the thing is.
But he said, the builder's not buying them. It'll go on your.
Yeah. I would probably suggest there is the best thing to do is have your clients purchase this appliance that work for them.
Yes, and that's what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He said, well, we'll probably give you $5,000. And I'm going, well, that'll buy a fridge.
Well, and the other thing is that, I mean, we all know you got to watch out that people aren't trying to play games with the mortgage company, because that comes back. I always felt that, especially my wife Lynn had certain ideas on what she wanted in the house for appliances. So when I built, you go get the appliances. It had nothing to do with me.
And then I notice as well, sometimes you're looking at new construction on MLS and you see price change, right? And it's gone, up $20,000. Why is that? Because it's now finished, the numbers
Well,
are in,
it-
appliances in, or how does that work?
It could be demand. It could be that the person,
For instance, the one the spec home I list right now, they think will finish the basement. So right now, it's one price in the system.
Right.
If they finish the basement.
It's gonna go out.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Or
And then
if,
sometimes it goes down.
if you have buyers and they're building from scratch, the initial agreement's already written up, and then all of a sudden your buyers want to finish
Right.
half the basement.
Yeah.
Well, that price is going to be adjusted at the end.
could be that they hit solid bedrock. It could be if it's an unserviced lot.
You always have to make sure
that you're
the
drilling.
financing's working,
Yeah.
Right, so they might be approved for, I don't know, in this case, I think the house was 309, right? But they, then they would have had to get appliances and maybe they wanted to landscape and all that kind of stuff, right? So they could have put an offer in for.
Sorry about that, not hearing the question. Holly mentioned that.
I think that was from.
Okay. So any questions online? Because we're coming to 3 o'clock. Is there anyone still online? Cool.
Actually, that Sandy one, I think, had a question originally, whoever that is.
It says attendees, 7 out of, but usually you can see who.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, there. So if there's any questions, if somewhere along the line, especially since we're recording this, if someone is in a situation where they have questions, I can be reached at paul.pettipaw@kw.com. I have some cards for people in. Yeah. My number is 902-497-9636, and I have no problems in helping you or answering your question. I mean, I've done this over the years. I've got information. Pardon me? Yeah. But the big thing is, I said, if you go into it with your eyes open. Here's the thing I find, and this will be one of my last little tidbits. Okay? Yeah, no, my pleasure. Here's one thing I found over the years. You cannot sort of look at your customer and say, is he or she going to be an easy person to deal with? One of the toughest persons that I dealt with in building in Fall River Village, the first time I met him, I had to hold back from coming across the table and pounding him. This guy was, in my opinion, the most arrogant person. All you developers are crooks, builders are crooks. Now, I built that person a home, became friends with him, and he probably sold me more homes than anyone else. Because what I did, I proved to him that when I was honest, I did exactly, so I turned him, right? I turned him from his thought process. If you can ever do that, you will get a person, because this is the type of person who tells 20 people. This guy tells 100 people. So if you screw him up, you're going to know it. I had another couple that sugar wouldn't melt in their mouth. Cost me $5,000. Everything I did for them, no, that's not what you said. I had it in writing. And in the end, I just looked at it and said, I can fight these people. So I just lost the $5,000 and forget it. But at the first of it, Paul, you were so good. You're just, those other developers are bad and builders are bad, but you were just, John and I were just so happy. Man, did they turn. I mean, I said to him, look, do you need an entrance to the basement? Nope. Just give us a couple of windows. We can shove stuff in. Dug the hole, put in the foundation. Where's the opening? I said, no, you've already said, no, we changed our mind. So we can't do that. I ended up putting one of those crazy ones you used to see in the old farmhouses with the thing, that was about $2,000. But everything, and and this is what got me. My husband is dying. I said, I'm sorry, but, and I found out in the end he wasn't buying them. So don't sort of prejudge the person on the other end.
Well, we know that just from dealing with.
Well, I'm talking to the initiated. So that's it.
I have actually another question. If you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Sometimes it'll say rebates to builders and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff. So if it doesn't say that, do we assume that the rebates are to the builder? Or?
No, find out.
Okay.
Don't let something like that go.
Yeah.
I mean, often,
Sometimes you don't know. It just,
well, the thing is in most cases, the HST is included in the price.
yes.
And if it is, the credit will go to the builder and it's best because let them figure it out. And I always did it, took the
What
credit.
other rebates would they be talking about?
Well, if it's
Oh, what
your first time rebate, I think the province of Nova Scotia has it.
First time, yeah.
I think there's still a little bit of that.
But
the
a lot of
builder gets
a lot
that?
of builders say that rebate's going back to the builder too, like a lot of.
But that's it. I mean, as long as
The first time homeowners rebate that the government's giving a new homeowner?
yeah, there's one. I think it's
How can the
$3,000.
builders take that, though?
You just get it assigned. But here's the thing: it's not so much who's getting it. It's just who's getting it. Just make sure in the agreement that this is going over here, this is going over here, this is going here.
So do most, in anybody's experience, do most new construction homes always include the HST?
Most do.
Make sure you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
some.
huge misunderstanding. If it's a buffer zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Yeah, I know.
15% is 600,000.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like Holly, we talked about details.
Yeah.
Make sure that when you're looking at it, and I would even, if you're not sure, have the purchaser's lawyer review it.
I had
That's,
somebody asked me a question a year ago, and it always stayed with me, and I always forget to ask it. So I'm gonna ask it now. So say, for instance, you bought a house, brand new construction.
Yep.
You paid $360,000 for it.
Yep.
Is it
So-
built or is it being built?
It's built. So you moved in and similar to the one I showed that didn't have the appliances. So say you paid $360,000 for a house, you moved in, you lived there for 2 years, you gotta go, or even a year, say. So you paid $369,000 for it, including the HST,
Yep.
right? So you now put it on the market, and
it's a used house.
I know, it's a used house, but they paid $369,000 for it, including 15% HST, right? So now they're putting it back on the market. The new people don't have to pay HST because it's a used
Yep.
house. So the question to me was, well, they didn't actually pay, well, they paid that, but 15% of that went to the government. So really, that house is worth $369,000 less 15%.
Yeah, but you can't say that because it's like saying I bought a car
I know.
and it
Well,
was 30,000 plus 15 is 34,500.
That's kind of the analogy.
Yeah, so all you can say is, to my answer to that would be, the value of that house includes all taxes, applicable taxes, because if you said it wasn't, then everyone could say, well, I'm only going to give you
Right, yeah.
369
No,
less
it was
15%.
10 years from-
No,
from,
no.
then.
I mean,
But it was the next year.
No,
So,
and I mean, no one says the house is more valuable because you paid 15%, but you had to pay the 15%.
No, they
So,
were saying it was less valuable.
no,
the
but I'm saying you can't say that because the cost of your home includes taxes.
Yes,
So
when you're buying it-
your house is valued at 369,000. If so much of that is tax, it's still to me 369. So someone, you could say that about cars, you could say that about everything, saying, well, I'm taking the course, so it's only worth 1,000. It's not worth 1,000 at $1,150. No. So that's it. I thank you very much. Who's ever online, we thank you, and hopefully you learned something.
Thanks,
Yep.
yeah,
Maybe it's easier. More documentation. Everything like faucets, sliders, everything.
The thing, yeah, no, go ahead. And those are online too.
So is Atlantic warranty?
No, Lux. There's Lux's out there. Lux is private.
Gotta be careful, because I rode on a place last year, and Skymark built the house. It was
Yes.
one of the houses that when Skymark went under, and Armco took over the house. The house has been sitting there for like 3 years, and against my will, my people bought the house. And
No warranty.
there was no warranty, so Armco brought in Lux, and Lux denied the 1-year deficiency. So basically, they said there's not gonna be any warranty after the 1 year. So I think Atlantic's probably the best one.
Well, Atlantic's a non-profit. It's basically, it's working with builders. And again, they're gonna be around. They paid out
Yeah.
certain things.
And it's what everybody seems to recognize,
Yeah.
Atlantic Home Warranty, right?
Yeah, I dealt with them over the years. I was one of their original builders. I think I was number,
So if you were building a
05.
home, would you use Atlantic Home Warranty?
yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. See, here's the way that I look at it. I always like to look at people and say, how long you been around? Well, I've been around 40 years. Well, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be around another 40. Now, I'm not saying that Lux isn't, but I'm just saying
Like LUX.
LUX, yeah, Lux. Residential used to be in there. I think they went out of business.
There was a third one, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
from out west. Yeah,
It's, if I had to pick one of those things on that list though, I'd say number 9 is the most important.
Paper trail, yeah.
well, number 9 and number 1, or the first one, get it in writing.
Yes.
Paper trail, get it in writing. Open communication. You just learn, and the problem is a lot of times you learn by your mistakes, and they can be expensive. So,
Yeah.
so if anything comes up I can help you with, whether it be residential or commercial,
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
and this one I'll leave also.
Listen to
Good to see you.
And it's got a very good foundation.
497
It's redone.
96
You don't know
36.
how
I'll give you
good
my
the
card.
foundation is.
Okay.
Is there not a website that you use that tells you to?
No, but what I do is go on to tax, PV,
That's the one I'm talking about.
yes,
Is it?
shit.
PV shit?
No, it's PV, I think it's
Is it on-
PVSC.
Is it on Weebly?
It could be, yeah. Now, if I was home, I've got it bookmarked because I use it all the time.
Can you just text me the link?
I can.
Okay. Because, I don't even have it listed, like, I don't know how it built up. There's a bungalow that built up.
Right.
And they went from studs in. So electrical, everything's been redone,
Yeah.
just sitting on an old foundation. So I don't know if I have to list the age as the foundation or the effective age of the
Yeah,
house.
that's exactly, you know what, I called commission on that. The reason why I say that is because I listed a house on Roslyn Road.
Yeah.
And it was a little bungalow, and they totally tore it down, except for one little piece of the foundation. So they took the foundation all out, left one little piece of the foundation, and then they built it up and blah, blah, blah. That house was now considered brand new construction and had to have an HST situation happen, right? Now yours won't because it's on the same,
Like, they didn't even take the studs on the main level off. They just, but it was a shell.
yeah, that's a tough
Right.
question, isn't it? Because everything is new except for the foundation, although,
And the original studs, but all the studs on the upper level are all brand new, they're all new, right?
Jesus, it took me 3 days for the commission to answer my question. Because Sandra Pike, my best friend, she had it listed.
She just lost 5 or 6. Bang, bang, bang. What do you think? She's not getting customer service.
I know.
If
I knew that would
she,
happen to her, because she just.
Oh, she's forgetting what she gave. Totally, nobody wants to do it.
I know. But anyway, so she had it listed before me, and she didn't have the HST, but she
She didn't even look at it.
She didn't even look at anything. But I'm so like, oh my God, I gotta do it right, that I thought, this is brand new, everything's brand new. And I don't know what triggered me to actually ask the question, but so anyways, I went to the commission, I said, here is this, what do I need to do? Well, I can't remember who I talked to first, they didn't know. And then they had to go ask somebody else who didn't know. And then the third person knew. And I said, I need you to send me an email confirming what we're talking about, because I thought, if I, it went back to, well, why am I doing it, right? Thinking that she knew more than me, when she didn't. So, anyway, so how do you know that she loved me? Because she just saw that somebody else had the listing.
Yeah, one was on the Village First Street.
Oh, is that right?
And they just listed yesterday with Debbie Mitchell for 20 grand under Santa Pikes. And the people that we bought our Bulldog from, they were listed with Santa Pike, and they're now listed with somebody else. There was a few, I seen them on the system.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Brenda Kay said her day will come. It might not be today, this year or something. We were discussing something.
It's the day will come that it's
Nobody's
almost
gonna
there,
do it.
and nobody wants to do it.
No,
Nobody.
just,
Yeah.
flamboyant and just like,
You ask some people that they'll tell you, it's just like nobody ever thought.
no, you gotta tell me that. Did he?
You know what?
No.
She's school with the little base coaches. At the conference. Kind of big.
Wow.
Everyone is passing on.
That's what you
Why
wanted.
is that?
Yeah. Well. Interesting. Yep, her day has come, so good. And you're right, she did forget. And she hates it when somebody, well, it depends on who's asking, I guess. If you detect her with an accent, which you do a little bit, especially when she talks to us.
Yeah.
She said, oh, I don't have anything like this. I said, yes, you do. I said, my father's from the plant. I said, I can detect it right away.
Luckily, not that what I was able to avoid doing feelers. I didn't know what Diane Telford was on the team. When I dealt with
She doesn't seem to be too bad.
And I dealt with her directly, so she was pissed at me.
Was she?
Oh, yeah, I get 10 grand on the plus they had to take all the contact out and close the contact. She was, Diane, I'm just representing my buyers.
Yeah.
Why, you got
Yeah.
something to me.
I can't see those two working together because they're both kind of stronger.
Diane's strong
personalities.
headed.
Yeah,
Um,
and usually that, who else is on her team? She had a guy on her team for a while. But I know that
Chris Peters, I think it was.
Chris Peters,
I think he was on their team.
sure.
Maybe that was an exit. He was on their team next, because Don Ray was on their team for a while too.
Oh, I hope I never do that.
R-A-N-N-I, Don Rainey, right? Yes. And who's he with, Road Bears?
Listen, if you come across, speaking of the building, I just showed the two properties in Halifax. They're looking for gifts in Halifax. So if you ever come across it, you can flying on the shelf.
What kind of books?
Just, he's either looking for something that you can convert into units, or just a straight up single family home that they can turn around and, anywhere from like 250 to 350, and then they can turn around and sell for 550.
Okay.
So, but they're just going so quickly.
With the flips, I think that's because of all of the, my husband and I love to do them. You know, I can get to business and flip them.
Yeah.
We're too old.
Well, it's just the hell, the place is so fast.
The London Peninsula, especially.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I mean, right?
And they try to, I mean, some of those little bungalows are being sold for like $350,000. So you're not going to sell it for $500,000.
Well, no, if they're getting bungalow style, they're building up. They're gonna
Yeah,
build up.
well, have you ever driven on Roslyn Road? And, well, next time you drive on Horizon Road, you think about, watching out for this house that is, so you've got all the bungalows, and you've got this huge, great big gigantic house in the middle. Huge, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It's my cousin's house, and I had it listed last year. Just beautiful house, beautiful. But they could not sell that house because they did that. And then he did it up the road. That's the one I was talking to you about. But couldn't sell that house either.
What kind of hell is that?
Roslyn Road, in the West End, perfect.
The West End.
Yes.
West End usually knows it's
On-
north end you gotta be careful of.
Yeah, I know. But-
Except Huntersville, obviously Huntersville is,
Yeah, if you're at the Halifax Shopping Center and, okay, so you're going up Bears Road, right?
Yeah.
And then there's Connaught, and then you
Yeah.
go this way. Roslyn Road is the first, so it's on the other side of the tracks from Connaught Avenue.
yeah,
But
you're up by the corner.
Kind of, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, see, the pubs are on the other side. And the pubs are
Right, but it's
back.
way up here, so if you go down further, the pubs are down there. But Roslyn Road is a beautiful little, area, right? And I mean, it's so close to everywhere, but what I'm saying is that the little bungalows that go up, right? People can't buy those to flip and then get their money back because people still aren't paying that kind of money
Yeah.
yet. Because his house, it towers, I mean, it looks ridiculous. When I took the picture of the outside of it, you see this beautiful house and these two little things on the side, you know, I was just like,
Now, on the other side of Connaught, where Forest Dock is,
yes, I know. Well, that, yes, absolutely. And that's, what's it called? That's a subdivision. It's, oh Christ, as soon as the house comes up
yeah,
there,
it's,
it's gone.
I know,
West,
we just drove through there.
Oh, what the hell's it called? That's gonna drive me crazy. West, I can't remember, but it's, there's George Dauphiny and, oh.
Yeah,
Christ.
I didn't know it was the name of the actual.
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. As soon as you say the name, people know exactly where it is.